Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:06. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in here. In 30 minutes, comedian Rob Schneider will be our guest. I am Larry O'Connor. She is Julie Gunlock on a busy morning here. Julie,
good morning.
Good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Yesterday was the primary in Maryland. On the top of the ticket, presidential-wise, it sort of went how you'd expect. 10% of Democrats said they'd rather have another choice than Joe Biden, even though there was no other choice. They just said none of the above. In the Republican side, there were other candidates, and Nikki Haley got 20%. Those are the diehards there in Maryland. Meanwhile, Larry Hogan did win the nomination for U.S. Senate. He beat Robin Ficker, who got about 30% of the vote, to Hogan's 60%.
Thank you, Maryland!
That was Larry Hogan thanking Maryland. The very loud crowd. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, remember when Larry Hogan campaigned for Wes Moore for governor?
Yes.
He didn't campaign for him, but he was obvious that he preferred Wes Moore over the Republican nominee, Dan Cox.
Yep.
Because Dan Cox was a little too Trumpy.
Yep.
And he was very, spoke in glowing terms about Wes Moore and all the great things that Wes Moore was going to do as governor and how historic Wes Moore was. Here was Wes Moore returning the favor. Wes Moore was at the victory party. Wes Moore went to the victory party and celebrated the he went to the Democrats' victory party. He didn't go to Larry Hogan's victory party.
No.
And speaking on behalf of Angela Alsobrooks, who won the nomination, here's what Wes Moore said about his good buddy Larry Hogan, who did so much to help Wes Moore become governor. Here's how Wes Moore thinks of Larry Hogan.
Listen, I'm an old Army guy. I know something. We know the difference between battles and wars. All right? Tonight, we won the battle. Tomorrow, we wage the war.
There you go, Governor Hogan. That's the Frankenstein monster you helped to create.
There you go.
It's war. I say all of this because I want to win, and I want Larry Hogan is going to ask every Republican in this state to swallow their pride and stand up for him, even if they don't like that he is anti-Trump. He's like, I've interviewed Hogan before. I know exactly what he's going to say. Listen, I don't like Trump. You like Trump. That's fine. We have differences, but we agree on most things. So, even if I don't like Trump, at least I'm a better choice for you. Come and vote for me, hey, that's a reasonable request to make to voters. I wonder if he could actually do the exact same thing and say, I don't like Trump, but he's still a better choice than Joe Biden.
Yes.
And by the way, the Democrats want to go to war with me.
Yeah.
We'll see.
People are suffering. You've said on the show many times, Larry, that the solution to a lot of this is Trump getting elected. The high cost of energy, the high cost of food, the problems and disruptions we see on college campuses. The border, right? A lot of this stuff is solved through the presidential. It really is. And when you have Hogan out there who is going to be sort of milquetoast at best in support of Trump, I don't even know that he will.
He's not. No. He's going to run as the Republican who hates Trump.
Right.
That's how he's going to run. He thinks that's how he wins in Maryland. And honestly, Angela Alsobrooks, who won the nomination over David Trone, which is a great story.
Yes, it is.
She's got, so listen, it may have worked against David Trone, but let me tell you something. Larry Hogan needs every single Republican vote to come out for him.
Yeah.
And he thinks the only way he wins is, I'm not asking him to put a MAGA hat on. I'm just asking him to have some respect for the Republican voters who might be wary of him right now.
Yeah.
And recognize who your friends are. Because Wes Moore just said he wants to go to war with you. That's your pal. That was your pal, at least. Anyway, here's David. Now, last I checked David Trone, this was David Trone's final foray into politics, I think. He tried to buy the seat that was vacated by Chris Van Hollen, and he lost to Jamie Raskin. He tried to buy the seat that was vacated by John Delaney. He won that for 2 terms. Then he got bored, so now he wants to purchase the seat that was vacated by Ben Cardin. He lost after spending $60, $70 million And first, he lost his temper with a Fox 5 reporter.
You took one line out of 20, and you should be ashamed of that type of journalism. And shame on Fox. Fox needs to step up and do real journalism, and you didn't do it there.
I did the same.
And he's in the face of the reporter pointing his finger, and it wasn't Fox, it was the local Fox 5 affiliate here in D.C. Meanwhile, and then at a hearing on Capitol Hill, he dropped a racial slur.
So this Republican jigaboo that
he meant bugaboo, I guess, and he says he's never said that word before, but it seems sort of natural. And then in his final moment, he was asked by an NBC reporter, a lot of people want Angela Alsobrooks because she'll be the first black senator from Maryland. How do you respond to that?
Voters, and we need diversity, and we always support diversity, and I've supported diverse candidates all over the United States. I'm the largest donor to Democrats in the House and the Senate. So I fully support that. But at the end of the day, what we hear from so many diverse voters is we need someone who actually speaks for us, someone who has our values. I went to public school. She went to private school. Someone that lived the life they did. Didn't even have indoor plumbing. We had an outhouse. And I grew up in a family that was destroyed by alcoholism.
David Trone,
oh my God,
doing the Steve Martin from The Jerk, I grew up a poor black child, by saying black voters relate to me and I can relate to them because I didn't have plumbing and I was surrounded by alcoholics.
Honest to God, I cannot believe he said that.
He said it with pride. He said it without any guile. He said it. They're the most racist people on our planet.
They really are. This is Biden, clean black man.
Yes.
This is that kind of level of cringe and just reveals so much about his thinking.
Well, we're going to miss David Trone. He was entertaining. Maybe he'll buy another. I've been offering it all morning long. He tries to buy seats all the time. He tries to buy vacant seats. He tried to buy the Chris Van Hollen's vacant seat, John Delaney's vacant seat, now Ben Cardin's vacant seat. We have an empty chair. You see that chair next to you? Well, not the one next to you, the one across the table there from you.
Yes.
We have like 3 empty chairs in our studio.
Yeah, our temporary studio. Yeah.
Our temporary studio. But we can. David Trone, since you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, I just want you to know, for $20 million, this vacant seat can be yours.
Are you trying to replace your co-host, Larry?
No. It's a vacant seat. It's a vacant seat. He'll be. This is what morning shows have. They have. Have you seen the morning shows with the giant cast of characters? And they go, who the hell are these people, right? And how are they getting money to pay for them? And they don't have any money. They're usually there for free. That's how Adam Carolla started in morning radio in Los Angeles.
You and Trone.
Exactly. Trump. Well, no. He's barely going to speak. There's always a cast of characters on morning radio shows. And so David Trone will be the guy in the corner who sounds drunk half the time and blurts out inappropriate racist things.
Let's go.
And the rest, it's the Howard Stern model. And the rest of us can all go, oh, David, you can't say that. Oh, come on. And then we go to break.
There you go. 20, did you say 20 million?
It's basically what he's been doing in Congress anyway.
It is true.
So $20 million, absolutely. I think that's cheap. That's like a fifth of what he paid to try to get the Senate seat, and I promise we're more fun. And I wouldn't even have to say he has to wake up early because he sleeps all the time. My guess is that when our show is done at 9 a.m., that's usually when he's going to sleep.
Do you think
anyway.
he would just come in for the last half hour?
Sure, that's fine too. Honestly, he can do with this seat what he wants.
True.
$20 million. David Trone, $20 million, that vacant seat. Like all the other vacant seats he tried to buy. I think it'd be a blast. Let's go. 20 million. 20 million can go a long way right now, even in Biden's economy. Speaking of racist Democrats, wait till you hear what the mayor of New York said. This comes after what the governor of New York said. It's almost like there's a pattern of behavior here. We'll get to that in a moment. First, though, it's 8:15.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live
From the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
On the next Vince Colonnese show, will artificial intelligence make your job easier or take it entirely? Join us 3 to 6 right here on WMAL.
We'll get to New York in a quick second. Listen, I know John Matthews just gave you a rundown on all of the other races in Maryland. We want to spend a little time with David Trone there because he's just so odious and entertaining. But Neal Parrott ended up winning the Republican nomination in Maryland 6. That is an open seat. He'll be running against April Delaney, who is the wife of former Congressman John Delaney. So they're just going to keep it in the family, keep buying these seats left and right. Kim Klacik won again the Republican nomination for the 2nd district, but this time Dutch Ruppersberger has vacated that seat, so that's another open seat. And yet another open seat in Maryland, Maryland's 3rd. All eyes were on the Democrat race there. Harry Dunn, who was a Capitol Hill police officer who was caught in some pretty tall tales that he told about the events of January 6th. He lost a very, very wealthy. He had a lot of campaign contributions.
He claimed he was hurt during January 6th, and he was the darling of the Democrat Party.
Oh yeah. He was Liz Cheney's favorite candidate.
Oh, millions. He raised millions.
No, he did not get the nomination. It went to Sarah Elfreth. She is the local state senator for the Annapolis area and the 3rd district. This, of course, is my congressional district, so I am very interested to see what happens with that race. I'm very happy to have dodged the Harry Dunn bullet. So that's everything you need to know about the Maryland races. So let's turn to New York. When last we checked with the Democrat Party in New York, let's see the status of the day. New York is the 2nd most populous Democrat state, right? California, number 1. New York, number 2. Now, California has the likes of Gavin Newsom, Alejandro Mayorkas, Kamala Harris, all of these losers that came out of California, right? New York has Andrew Cuomo, who was shamed out of office in a public resignation. Then Kathy Hochul replaced him, and when last we checked with Kathy Hochul, she was commenting on black kids in the Bronx.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is.
Yeah, that was last week. So this week, Mayor Eric Adams, who apparently doesn't know what a computer is because he's a young black man, kid, he has a new plan. The city is flooded with illegal aliens because of Joe Biden's policies. They don't know what to do with them.
Right.
But he's got a plan.
He has an idea.
Summer jobs for the illegal immigrants.
Plan that states those jobs that we are in high demand, we could expedite. How do we have a large body of people that are in our city and country that are excellent swimmers, and at the same time we need lifeguards? What? And the only obstacle is that we won't give them the right to work to become a lifeguard.
There you go. We've got to give these illegal immigrants lifeguard jobs.
They're great swimmers?
Because they're excellent swimmers. That was his argument.
I don't understand. Why does he think I don't.
Well,
did he what?
How do we have a large body of people that are in our city and country that are excellent swimmers?
By the way, it's not lost on any of us that his first instinct was, let's get American citizens these jobs to be lifeguards. It's a great summer job but apparently
is he drawing on the fact that some of these illegal aliens are coming across the Rio Grande?
Well, I think that's what it is.
And many are drowning. Okay.
Tom Lamas, who is a Latino anchor at NBC News, actually got into it yesterday talking about this.
I also want to talk about just sort of painting with a very broad brush that the migrants in New York are all great swimmers. Where would he get that from? Unless it had something to do with crossing the Rio Grande.
There you go. That's it. Well, it also, by the way, this is a twofer. This is a double-sided racist comment because first it's like, all those Mexicans are good swimmers. They got to cross the Rio Grande, right? But then also because who else is in New York City who is that same age who's looking for a summer job? That would be black kids.
Right.
And see, the racist trope about black kids is that black people aren't good swimmers.
Right.
So he nailed it on both sides of the coin here. We can't give it to the black kids. Not only do they not know what a computer is, but they'll sink to the bottom of the pool.
And they don't have bathrooms.
And David Trone will tell you they don't have swimming. Please, they don't have indoor plumbing. Just ask David Trone, who is basically a black guy. What world are we living in right now? And I'm supposed to make apologies for Donald Trump because he says silly things on Twitter? Seriously? But Bob Costa is wringing his hands up there. Poor Bobby Costa over at the Washington Post. All right, well, I guess you're up to date now. You're up to speed on where things stand here.
I can't believe it. Oh, my God.
The hits just keep on coming. It's 8:23.
Making sense of your world.
And you got good analysis on stuff.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I wanted to say how much I appreciate that.
Making sense of the news. Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 8:37. In 30 minutes, we're going to hand it off to the incredible, the indomitable, We're going to hand it off to Chris Plain.
That's right.
Okay.
I didn't make a face.
I don't know why that's controversial.
I didn't make a face.
He doesn't know your real feelings about him, okay? So we'll just keep it between us. Meanwhile, far be it for us to break a little news for you, but this just happened about 20 minutes ago. Joe Biden, in a heavily edited video, 14 seconds long, but it took 5 edits to get through, delivered a challenge to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
I get it, because there's a court recess on Wednesdays. He doesn't have a trial on Wednesdays.
Sure.
So this is actually newsworthy. First, I'll give you analysis in a minute. But Joe Biden is challenging Donald Trump to a debate now. In fact, he said, let's do one in June and one in September. But the real news here is that they are bypassing the fraudulent, corrupt presidential debate commission. Okay, which has been just a complete and total broken mess for years. That is kind of a big deal. And I think that's good. We should put that thing out of its misery.
Yeah.
And just let the candidates sort of put together their own plan.
Yep.
Let me get back to the edits here. Again, it's 14 seconds long. I'm going to play it again, and I'll tell you where there's an edit.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020.
That was one edit. So he got through that sentence, and then he goes on.
Since he hadn't shown up for debate.
By the way, he says, he hasn't shown up for debates because he didn't debate during the Republican nomination process. Guess who else didn't show up for debates? Joe Biden.
Right.
In fact, Joe Biden's Democratic Party strong-armed RFK Jr. and all the other candidates who wanted the nomination completely off the race and intimidated them and said, no, there will be no debate. So that's sort of an empty accusation. But there's another edit. So that's edit number 2.
Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again.
Edit number 3.
Well, make my day, pal.
Edit number 4.
I'll even do it twice.
That's edit number 5.
So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
5 edits in that 14-second.
Can you imagine how many times he had to say those same sentences?
So the big news today, listen to these two just going nuts about it.
Breaking news here on Morning Joe. President Biden laying out his terms for participating in the presidential debates this fall.
And the breaking news is they're not going to go the commission route. Donald Trump has already said in the past he's not going to go the commission route. Trump has said he'd debate Biden anytime, any place. It looks like Joe Biden has taken him up on that. Let's see what the president's saying.
No, let's not. They're just going nuts about it. It's a huge deal, right? Huge deal. Biden is ready. Let's have the debates. Can I just say I'm going to extend myself? Again, I don't know why I'm in such a mood for predictions this year.
Yeah.
There will be no debates.
Really, you think?
Biden and Trump will not debate. They will not debate. Here's what the strategy is. This is a distraction. It's because the reporters have been asking, are you going to debate him? Are you going to debate him? Are you going to debate him? And Biden's like, yeah, sure, yeah, anytime, any place. Make my day. Steely-eyed Clint Eastwood. You know he can't debate.
No.
He can't debate anyone. He can't debate a sponge.
No, and honestly, that video, if you could see the video, the cuts are clear, but he looks just awful.
It's embarrassing.
He looks awful and squinty and slurring. It's not a good look. So you're right. I know it's not going to happen.
So here's what the strategy is, because they had to defer. They had to deflect. Right. They have to deflect, and they have to answer the question about the debate. So now it's out there, and everyone's going to say, well, there you go. Biden said he'll debate it. In fact, he was really strong in his video of 14 seconds with 5 edits. And he said, let's do it in June and September, and let's go. And so game on, right? No. Because they're bypassing the commission, this will be between the two campaigns to work it out. And the Biden people will not agree to the terms.
Right.
And then they will come to the media first, and they will say, well, Trump is ducking us. He won't agree to the terms.
Right.
He's being unreasonable. He is not. So he's putting unreasonable demands up for the debates. We won't agree to it. He won't agree to our very reasonable terms. People like Joe and Mika and Anderson Cooper and Jake Tapper and our pal Bob Costa over at Washington Post. Bobby's been my target all morning. They'll take that ball and run with it. The narrative will be that Trump is ducking Biden, that Trump's the one who doesn't want to debate, that they couldn't reach out a negotiation, and therefore there are no debates.
You're right, and we saw this week when Mike Johnson and a number of other Republicans went to sort of defend Trump and call out what a charade and what a joke this trial is. The media, I mean, you could tell there were talking points that went out because many of these media figures repeated the same thing.
That's right.
So they'll get their talking points and they'll run with it just as you've laid out.
And when the debate doesn't happen, the media narrative will be because Team Trump was unreasonable, Team Trump was scared, Team Trump put unreasonable demands for the debate in there, and so now it's not going to happen. And because we know the truth. I mean, I would love to be wrong. I want these. Are you kidding? Oh my! I want these debates more than life itself. Talk about an easy day of show prep the next day. I don't even have to show up. Just play all the audio.
Exactly.
So I want it to happen. But don't believe what you're hearing from them. The last thing they want is a debate. It's O'Connor and Company with Larry and Julie this morning. And here a little insight into my humor and the origins of it. 1999's Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, was an incredibly influential movie on my career and on my life in general, frankly. That's my kind of humor. I was left in tears most of the time. So it's a big deal for me to welcome to the program Rob Schneider, who's in town for a stand-up concert over at Lincoln Theater tomorrow night. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Larry. And, yeah, you know who made Deuce Bigalow?
Who?
How times have changed? Disney.
Wow.
Disney. Yeah, that's how they did. They made a movie about a man whore. That's right. Disney.
Well,
it's all gone south since then, Larry.
Some would argue that that's the moment it went south, Rob, but, I don't want to feed into that. Hey, Rob, is there going to be you're going to be in D.C. Are you going to have any jokes about Joe Biden? Because, you're an alum of Saturday Night Live. When I tune into that show, they can't find anything funny about Joe.
I know. I mean, besides the fact that he's a corpse attached to a car battery, I don't know if there's anything to make fun of.
All right. So
maybe he's off limits. My favorite part is him shaking hands with people who aren't there every speech. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's his favorite, too. That's actually most of his friends come that way. Rob, a lot of times comedians come to town, and because they're in D.C., they feel the need to start preaching about politics. Do you feel compelled to do that at your stand-ups?
No, I'm there to get laughs, but I do think that there's never been a better time, potentially, for stand-up.
Yeah.
With a lot of pitfalls. But, yeah, I mean, what you want to have is crazy things happening in society, and we do. We have we have the same people running this time than last time. Thank you. This is a great political system we have. It's like we have two political parties here in America. That's one more than China. Thank you.
Rob Schneider live at Lincoln Theater tomorrow night. And I think tickets are available still. I'm not sure, but just check it out if you could. Rob, it is interesting to me that comedy seems to be coming back from the brink. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Is it because social media and sort of streaming services, you can get your material directly to people, so you don't have to go through, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon's gatekeepers where you'll never get on if you don't, toe the line on their woke politics?
Well, the funny thing is the number one late night show now isn't one of those liberal, I call them liberal Klan meetings, those shows.
Yeah.
It's not real comedy. It's political indoctrination in the guise of comedy. But what you have, the number one show now, Larry, is Greg Gutfeld on Fox. He's the number one late night guy. So, I mean, at the same time, if you do have people with real strong opinions about stuff, and also crazy things happening in society, it creates great potential for laughter. I mean, just, the LGBTQ plus rally for Hamas. I mean, you can really, the jokes write themselves sometimes.
Well, listen, I had the honor of seeing your cast live back in the day, in the early 90s or mid 90s, I guess it was, and when you and Sandler and Chris and Dennis Miller, I think was Norm Macdonald obviously was amazing, but my heart still goes to Dennis Miller as the best of the Weekend Update anchors, and we miss you guys. So it's great to be able to see you continuing to do great work. And we're looking forward to the stand-up. And by the way, congratulations on your conversion and baptism to the faith, to the Catholic Church. Really inspiring, actually, to see.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's something that is it's been the most beautiful part of my life now, and it's you know, there's other religions and there's other faiths, but what about one that has forgiveness and acceptance and love of your brother and love of your enemy at its core? I mean, that doesn't get better than that to me.
Yeah. Look at me. I didn't let you finish with a punchline. This is I'm an awful host. But still,
you're great.
You're a good man, and we're looking forward. Welcome to D.C.
Right.
Enjoy yourself, and we'll talk again soon.
The Lincoln Theater. It's a beautiful old theater, so we'll have a good time. Yeah, and not the Ford Theater, by the way. If y'all are thinking you're going to go to the Ford Theater, something very different is going to happen. It's a different place, but it's very cool. Thanks, Rob. Totally.
8:52. All right, that's a wrap. Julie, thank you so much, and thanks to Rob Schneider. Go buy tickets to his show. Here comes Chris Plant, who's just as funny. And
crazy man crowd. You see that Eric Adams now thinks that illegal aliens should dominate our pole vaulting team at the Olympics.